Tell us about your journey, because you've got a lot of investors, different kinds of investors. How do you sell to new age investors a company which is not e-commerce?
Wow, that's quite a question. So let me start with how a brand stays relevant. I mean, one of the things that I get is a lot of information from people I talk to. So I think the one thing my only piece of advice I can really give you is keep a curious mind, keep an open, curious mind. Recently, I took a overnight train journey on a local train, and I ended up talking to all the passengers in the compartment, and I got so much information from them on what they were thinking for their children, what their children were thinking, and that's really important. And one of the things that I really came across there from that experience is that everybody had wellness on their mind. So we began to really focus. One part of Fab India is called a company called Organic India.
Yeah.
We began to focus on the wellness space, and it has just exploded for us. And the information came just from talking to people and seeing everybody was talking. 40-year-old men were talking about how unwell they felt and how they were. And then, I realized that people were eating junk food. They were eating fairly toxic food. They had some lifestyle habits and I suddenly thought to myself, wow, what we really need to do is focus on wellness. So each of these ideas, I don't think I can take credit for having claimed any idea as my own. The ideas come to you from the ecosystem. You just have to be curious and listen. If you're not curious and you don't listen, you're shutting yourself off to the potential or the future of whatever you do. The thing about investors is you have to remember it is a marriage. You go into an investment with the same probably thought process you have when you're entering a marriage, especially if they're going to be investors who are sitting on your board and all. And I see a lot of young entrepreneurs, especially my friends in tech, they just look for the highest valuation and they say, okay, let's marry these people. I'm like, this is not the way to do it, because you're going to end up with a guy sitting on your board, and if his long-term interests and yours are not in alignment, there will be constant friction. So what I would say is really look for a fit, look for an alignment of values, look for an interest in if they respect what you do and what you bring. Because the thing is that in every investment journey, there are good days and bad days. And I have seen bad investors get really mad when things don't go the way they're planning to go. So I spend a lot of time thinking about who to get as investors, when to exit investors, and it's really important that you have good marriages. We've had 5 good marriages, no divorces, and I'm really pleased about that. There's some amazing investors out there. There are also some terrible investors out there. And I've seen friends who've had terrible investors, and it's something you should be really careful of. The last thing you want to do is go for the highest valuation. You need to look at what kind of terms they're asking for, because the devil lies in the details, and you need to spend a lot of time with them before the marriage. Go on lots of dates with your investors.